broadcast of Your Immunity Project. Be sure to join us on Prayer and Fasting Zoom. Be sure to join us on Dr. Alim's YouTube channel, Dr. Alim Muhammad, and we are also live broadcasting on Facebook on Your Immunity Project's Facebook page. We will begin this evening's broadcast in prayer, and following prayer, Dr. Alim will present us with this evening's broadcast with worldwide news affecting our global environment. So, attention, prayer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the day of requital. Thee do we serve, and thee do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Ameen. Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen. Greetings, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Happy New Year. Still not too late to say that. So Happy New Year. Hope your holiday season was joyous, whether you were celebrating the Christmas, the Hanukkah, the Kwanzaa, whatever the case may be. I hope that for you, it was peace on earth and goodwill towards men. And I hope that going forward into 2026, we find it to be the same going forward. But unfortunately, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I wish so, but I don't think so. And so we're going to be getting into some information and some knowledge and some headlines that are really catastrophic. I'm certainly sure that when they bombed Nigeria on Christmas Day, it was not a joyous season. Maybe it was Julius Caesar, but it wasn't a joyous season. And certainly just recently in Venezuela, the same thing. And so even though the Your Immunity Project has been around for years and is known mostly for handling health-related issues, yet I think they have health-related issues in these various locations around the world, whether it's from disease like COVID-19 or whether it's from actual kinetic warfare. So welcome to the Your Immunity Project. This is the first part of the survival show. This evening we're assisted by Sister Cheryl Lewis, and she's going to field your questions. So if you have some ideas in your head, a question in your head, and you're with us on Zoom, and you know ahead of time what you want to deal with, then put it in the chat, and then we'll deal with that, inshallah, by the end of the program. And welcome if you're with us on YouTube. I'm glad to see you, and the audience share is building up on YouTube lately, but don't forget to push the share button and subscribe. I haven't looked this week, but I was probably hovering around 1,000 subscribers, and that's pitiful and poor, in my opinion. I'm glad for the 1,000 that I have, and for a YouTube or channel that's been dormant for years. That's not too bad, but really, when you get down to it, you know, a subscriber base of just 1,000 or so, that's pitiful and poor. And I'm sure we can do better than that. And so let everybody know that the channel is not dormant anymore, and that we're active almost every day, most of the days out of the week. We're prayer and fasting on Sundays and Mondays, and then, of course, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, the survival shows. The first part being the Your Immunity Project, and the second part, the 19th Element. And so let's get the subscriber base up. I'm not too good with the YouTube network, the way it works altogether, but I'm doing the best that I can. And so welcome once again. This is the Your Immunity Project. And this is where it all happens. This is where we try to tell the truth the way a TI is. And we kind of deviate a little bit from just health-related issues to downright survival issues. And for some people in this brutal world, hey, it is very brutal. You think you have problems? Suppose you lived in the West Bank and a bulldozer came through your front door. Suppose you lived in Gaza and a bomb came down in your rain-soaked tent and you can't find a drink of water anywhere. And so those are acute survival issues. But of course, even here in the lap of luxury, at the center of world power, at the citadel of the free world, much suffering is going on by many people. And it's no joke. It's no fun to suffer. It's no fun to be hungry. It's no fun to be shot at, to be bombed. It's no fun not to be able to find health care. It's no fun to be unemployed. It's no fun to be in poverty. It's no fun being ignorant. And certainly it's no fun being sick. And so all of these issues are mounting, the problem side of life. Life has a bright side too. But it looks like the bright side is getting dimmer and dimmer, and the problem side, the dark side, is growing larger and larger. And so I think it's going to be up to you and me to light up the world that's getting dark before it gets too dark. Work while it is yet day, for the night cometh, when no man can work. And so that's what we're all about. We're about getting on with the work. What work, you say? The work of survival. Don't you know it takes work to survive? We can't be frogs on a lily pad, lounging in the sun, So that's what we try to deal with the Your Immunity Project. So we follow 5 basic principles. Prevention's number 1, diagnosis is number 2, treatment's number 3, research is number 4, and education is number 5. That's the one we're on right now. We practice these 5 principles every week. Inshallah, we've been able to be faithful to you each and every week for going on 5 or 6 years. I missed a couple of weeks at the passing of my mother. May Allah be pleased with her soul. So we've been very consistent in trying to do our best to give out good advice. And hopefully it has helped some of you. And we hope that you would show your gratitude in return for support by pushing that share button, make this information go viral. But beyond that, you can help us financially. We're going to be talking about the cancellation of health care across the board in America, starting right now. So then what's going to replace it? Well, we want to talk about that. So Sister Cheryl, let's get on with our images. We have a lot of images, well, not that many compared to some broadcasts, but there's enough. And they're going to be a mixture. As I said, survival is absolute. Who cares whether you get killed with a bullet or a germ? You're just as dead. So this is the survival show. We emphasize the word plan is a noun and a verb. Do you have a plan of survival? If not, you better get one in a hurry. Put it down in a notebook. Like you see, you've never seen me without a notebook. And so you should get a notebook. It will survive the grid failure that is a part of the threat against your survival. So how are you going to handle your banking if your digital bank account goes blank, which is very likely soon? So plan has to be written down. And if it's not written down, it doesn't exist. And then, of course, plan is a verb, which is an action word. So what did you do today in the direction of your own survival or the survival of your family and your loved ones, your neighbors, your community? What did you do today? Did you do anything today that was specifically designed to enhance your chances of survival in a time of danger and trouble? So answer for yourself. You know what you did. And if you didn't, whatever you did today, is it possible that you could do more tomorrow? Because the threat is probably growing by tomorrow, not getting less. It's not going to go away. So you should do more tomorrow in the direction of survival than you did today or yesterday. So your immunity project can't be singular. It has to be your immunity projects. What are you going to do to protect yourself? You have been given the gift of life by God Almighty, but it's up to you and me to develop the immunity, the force and power to stay here. Otherwise, we perish. Next image, please. So Happy New Year. This is, I believe, the first show for the Year Immunity Project in 2026. Yeah. And then we did the 19th element on New Year's Eve last week. So Happy New Year, and I hope it is happy for you. And that's not just an empty slogan that in reality has the opposite meaning, an unhappy New Year. Next image. So now I show this every week. This is not current, but this is one of my survival projects. I check the quality of the air every day. I do a spectral analysis every day. I want to know, can I go outside or not? Would going outside risk my health? Next image, please. I do this for myself, then I share it with others. Do something for yourself and share it with others. So on this day, we're perfectly healthy. Normal is plus 10. This was plus 12. That means, hey, you better go outside. You better go for a walk. Nature is calling you. You know how some days are better than others. Next image, please. More energy in the air. Feel better. And then some days it's like this. You see, so I do the spectral analysis because I don't just want to look up and say, hey, they're playing tic-tac-toe in the sky. I want to know, hey, what are they spraying me with? Because that's exactly what is going on. This is an attack. This is an airborne attack, just as lethal, even more so, than the airborne attacks against Venezuela. This is an airborne attack against the American civilian population. Who's doing it? The Pentagon? We're not going to go into the details this evening, but in past broadcasts, we've shown chemtrails are being engineered and carried out by a branch of the Pentagon known as DARPA. DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. And of course, they have a sister agency called BARP that deals with biologicals. If it's DARPA, then it's BARPA. I think they call the other one BARPA. BARPA and DARPA is after you. That's all I'm trying to get across to you. They got some monsters called DARPA and BARPA. They're trying to kill you. And they put these chemtrails in the sky, a lot of times while you're asleep. So by the time you get up and look out, you might have a coalescence of all of this, and it's just a hazy, overcast sky. And it's full of toxicity, radioactivity, biological agents, even vaccines are in chemtrails, electronics in chemtrails. Now this photograph is from Sweden. So sometimes people have asked the question, are they doing this to other people? Yes, they're doing it wherever they can. This is part of a depopulation agenda that nobody likes to talk about. Even people who say that they're woke. How come you haven't woke up to the fact that these folks are trying to kill you? And this is just one of the ways. How shall I kill thee? Let me count the ways. Next image, please. So now, this is all about basic survival. See, we're down to basic survival for a lot of people in many parts of the world, including here in America. Basic survival. Down to basic survival. No luxuries, no expendable income. No, how can I afford heat? Can I afford to heat my house? Is heat even available to heat my house or light my house? So many people in Europe right now, this is how they're living. This is how they heat their homes. They're sitting around campfires because all of the Russian oil has been cut off. The Russian gas has been cut off. The Nord Stream pipeline blew up. Joe Biden blew it up. So now Europe is literally in the dark, in the cold, freezing, sitting around campfires. Can't do nothing. That's why Volkswagen had to declare bankruptcy. They can't make cars in the dark. Mercedes-Benz shutting down plants. They can't make Benzes in the dark. And then food is in short supply. Europe doesn't produce a lot of food. They import most of their food. But who wants their money anymore? And what kind of money do they have in the first place? The only money they have is what they're stealing from Russia. In a lot of countries, they have morals. They don't. We don't want your blood money. So Europe is in a bad situation. So if you lived in Europe, you would be suffering more than you're suffering right now in America. And it looks like Europe has entered into a new dark age. But that's a prelude of what is taking place in America. You see, because pretty soon, what's going on in Europe could be going on in your neighborhood. Because if the grid fails and your house is cold, how are you going to keep it warm? Do you have a plan? Do you have a survival plan to provide warmth, shelter, heat? How are you going to cook your food? Where are you going to get water from? When the power grid goes down, so does the tap water. How are you going to flush your toilet? And do all the other things that go along with flushing your toilet. And so these are basics of survival that many people have taken for granted. Hey, somebody else is already taken care of. We live in the lap of luxury. We don't have to worry about that. I'll just go down to the grocery store and get some food. Well, as you'll see, that's not necessarily going to be an option in all cases, if you can even afford it. Next image, please. So this is down to basic survival. Go take a look at what's going on in Europe. See, the USDA, Office of Retailer Operations and Compliance, is bearing down on all the grocery stores and supermarkets across America to make sure that they are compliant with the SNAP regulations, food stamps, in other words, that millions of people are dependent upon. So in other words, say you could be as innocent as the new driven snow, and you go in there with your SNAP coupons and you find out that this store, not you, just the store in your neighborhood, has been put under some kind of a penalty, some kind of a sanction from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And because of their naughty behavior, according to the USDA, now they can no longer participate in the food stamp program, but they know a store right down the road that's still in good standing with the USDA. So there you are with a handful of food stamps, or however they come electronically. How are you going to get on the bus? Or how are you going to walk 5 miles to where they say the next grocery store is or supermarket is that still is in compliance with the government regulations? See what happens when the government controls everything? Next image, please. Who was that? Henry Kissinger said, when you control the oil, you control nations. When you control the food, you control people. Now this picture of the chemtrails I showed you earlier, see, this is what's in the chemtrails. So-called pesticides. Do you know about the indemnity that's been given to the big pharmaceutical firms, where no matter what kind of injury or death that they cause from their vaccines or their drugs, you cannot sue them? So they could literally go into the business of Murder Incorporated. I mean, you could actually call these big pharmaceutical companies Murder Incorporated, because they have literally been given a license to kill. Not that they would intend to do that. No, they're all here to help us. You know that. They come with the best of intentions, but just because millions die, that doesn't mean you could sue them. They have indemnity. You can't sue them. They can sue you, but you can't sue them. And guess who else wants to get in on the act? The people that make pesticides to kill bugs. What's the history of pesticides? Oh, well, they used to be called nerve weapons, neurological weapons. These were developed mostly by the British in World War II. And these were nerve agents that they intended to use against the Germans. But then the war came to an end, and they had all these stockpiles of pesticides to kill Germans. And they said, well, they'll kill bugs too. So let's just reduce the dosage down a little bit, sell them to the Americans, to the big chemical companies in America, and tell them that they need this in order to keep down the pests. And they've been keeping down the pests ever since. And now, because they've been keeping down the pests so well, some of the pests want to bring lawsuits against the pesticide makers for all of the health issues that have been caused by these neurological agents that originally were designed as neurological weapons. But I guess since World War III has been declared or undeclared, maybe they're taking these neurological weapons down off the shelf since they didn't get a chance to use them the first time. Maybe they're going to use them this time and put them in the chemtrails. But they need immunity just like the big pharmaceutical companies. Otherwise, somebody might get up the gumption to sue them. Next image, please, before they start twitching like cockroaches. This is Arthur Schomburger. Schomburg is no Erger, it's Schomburg. And he was the one that collected all of the literature that he could that pertained to black history and black culture over the years of his life. And now that collection has been expanded and is housed in the Schomburg Library, right across from where I did my surgery training. They were building the Schomburg Library where it is now while I was still there doing my surgery training. And now it turns out that the Kawan that swore in the new mayor up there in New York, Mayor Mamdani, was from the Schomburg collection. And so good work, Mr. Schomburg. Next image, please. Now, a lot of people don't understand the timing of the attack on Venezuela, and we'll get into this more tomorrow night on the 19th Element. But I think I did mention in previous broadcasts that Mr. Trump had a big nut to crack. He has $3 trillion of sovereign debt that was due the day after Christmas. So maybe the strike on Nigeria was to scare the Nigerians into coughing up $3 trillion. But I don't think that worked. And so December the 26th, 24 hours later, December the 27th, the United States of America, for the first time in history, defaulted on a portion of its sovereign debt. $3 trillion worth of the $38 trillion was defaulted on, meaning creditors showed up and said, we need to be paid on December the 27th. And there was no money in the vault. So you see, Mr. Trump had no choice in the matter. He had to find $3 trillion overnight. Well, who had $3 trillion overnight? Venezuela. So they went into, see, the headline story is we kidnapped or we captured or we arrested the president of Venezuela and we're going to run the country. That's the headlines. But behind the headlines is Trump is wiping his brow. We planned the biggest silver heist in history, and we got away with it. We stole all of Venezuela's gold, just like NATO stole all of Gaddafi's gold. Now, of course, NATO already had $24 billion of Venezuela's gold. So we're not just talking about what they just stole the other day. No, Britain and America had previously stolen $24 billion of Venezuelan gold and been holding it in London for years, starving the Venezuelan people of their own wealth. And so so you understand why Trump had to do what he had to do. Kidnap and ransom. Oldest game in the book. Next image, please. You want your president back? Well, let us keep the silver. I mean, it's the oldest game in the book. But see, people used to be smart. And over the course of my lifetime, IQ test scores have been going down, 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 and down. And so now in the age of artificial intelligence, I think for the most part, human intelligence has just about disappeared. And so that's why the same old tricks seem to work. I think if Abraham Lincoln came back, I wonder if he have to change what he said. He used to say, you can fool all of the people some of the time, and you can fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. I wonder if he would say the same thing today. Maybe you can fool all of the people all of the time nowadays. Next image, please. Or at least 90%. Now this is a channel on YouTube, and this guy, I think he calls his show the Survival Show. Yeah, full spectrum survival. Yeah. So he talks about a lot of useful things. Usually in a panic mode. He stays in a panic mode. You know, the sky's gonna fall tomorrow. You better believe it. The sky's gonna fall tomorrow, according to this guy. You better get ready. But then sometimes he's really onto something, and and what he's onto is the movement of military equipment and personnel into strategic locations across the country. And what he's warning about is the use of federal military forces to bring about a literal state of martial law, with federal troops being used to attack and kill and imprison and kidnap American citizens and allegedly illegal migrants without any resort to law, due process, or the U.S. Constitution. And so I don't know if he's right. I know this guy has pushed the panic button more than once, but maybe he's right this time. Next image, please. He's saying revolution is on the way. Now, of course, they're trying to spark revolution in Iran with what they call a color revolution. These are psyops. It's just like they showed the pictures of people in Venezuela, and it turned out that it wasn't really people in Venezuela. It was really people in Miami having a good time. But they told you, and with artificial intelligence, they're able to convince you that things that actually never happened actually happen. Because you can't tell the difference between reality and virtual reality nowadays. And some people prefer virtual reality to reality. So now, through virtual reality and psyops, literally mind control, through social media, they've stirred up something in Iran. And it's really not what they say it is, that it's about to topple the regime. No, but it is causing trouble at an inconvenient time when they see, as Trump said, we're locked and loaded to attack Iran the second time. And so even if I think the protests are really about the effects of inflation in the country, which are due to the sanctions, of course, and the merchants, you know, these are like the merchants who are upset that the economic conditions are worsening, and they're protesting to have better economic stability. But of course, the obvious answer is lift the sanctions off of Iran so they can get their economy back on track again. So the protests are about that, not toppling the government. But at this time of war, you see how much can a government tolerate, even if it's about a legitimate issue. Next image, please. Then it turns out they tried to kidnap him. At the same time they were kidnapping Maduro, they were trying to kidnap him. And at the same time they kidnapped Maduro, they were trying to kidnap him. Captain Ibrahim Traore. They tried to snatch him. There was a coup attempt in Burkina Faso as they were trying to, as they carried out what they did in Venezuela. Next image, please. Suppose they had kidnapped Captain Ibrahim Traore. We're talking about kidnapping Vladimir Putin. Well, I wouldn't put it past them. They kidnapped you, didn't they? Or your ancestors. So this is the same thing. See, they went down there in Venezuela and picked up $3 trillion worth of silver so they could stay in business. Because J.P. Morgan was about ready to go out of business. You talking about J.P. Morgan the pirate? Yeah, J.P. Morgan the pirate. What did you think J.P. Morgan stood for? That's J.P. Morgan the pirate. Morgan the pirate. You heard about him. He was the pirate of the Caribbean. He used to sail around in the Caribbean stealing other people's stuff. And to hide it out, he had to have a treasure island. And he found out that the safest treasure island on earth was called Manhattan. So the pirate J.P. Morgan, he established the J.P. Morgan Bank to hide his stolen treasures. And then wouldn't you know it, the inscrutable Chinese came in and tricked him out of everything he had. And that's why Trump was broke, and that's why he had to do what he did in Venezuela. Don't you understand? Next image, please. See, now this is what's really going on in the real world, not just in Europe, but in America. So you have all these people who think they own silver because they have a paper contract that says they own so many ounces of silver. The average silver contract is 5,000 ounces. And JP Morgan said they had it. Deutsche Bank in Germany said they had it. The British bank said, yeah, we got your silver, we got your gold on deposit, just like the paper says. That's like having a federal IOU reserve note. Yeah, we got your gold in Fort Knox, to back us up. Yeah, we got it. So when China siphoned all the silver and gold out of the Western bullion banks, now people in the West are nervous. Hey, I got this contract. I want to cash it in. Give me my silver. And they don't have it. Just like if you went down to the bank right now and demanded the bank to give you what's allegedly in your bank account. See, I want that in cash. That's one thing I used to challenge all of the celebrities that claim, like Bill Cosby, claimed he was a billionaire. I said, okay, Bill, go on down to the bank with an armored truck. Tell them to put your $1 billion into that truck. See if you can do it. See if you can get it. Now, he might have took me up on that. Now that I think about what happened to him. Next image, please. He was trying to buy NBC, I think. So he must have went to the bank, said, put my $1 billion in my armored truck, because I'm going to go down to Hollywood and buy NBC. And look what happened. So now they're saying the year 2025 just passed was the year the market for fake meat and insect products began to collapse. Well, what I want to know, when was there ever a market for fake meat? I mean, where was the demand for fake meat? When was there ever a demand, let me eat some bugs? Let's introduce bugs into the food chain. So I guess the market did collapse. Next image, please. But that doesn't mean they put, would you go back again? See, since the market collapsed, that just means that nobody would voluntarily buy it. I mean, who walked into Whole Foods and said, where's your fake meat department? Where's your fake fish? I mean, they might look for some artificial milk. Where's your soy milk? Where's your rice milk? But nobody was asking for fake meat. They say, why don't you give us some more of the real stuff? That's what we want. Stop killing the cows. We don't want your fake meat. We want the real beef, the real red, juicy meat from a real cow. We don't want no fake meat. We don't want no bugs. So guess what? The reason I went back to this is because that same U.S. Department of Agriculture that's putting pressure on the retailers, they also passed a rule that they can put insect powder as an ingredient in food now without telling you. And they can put fake meat in food products. Call it real. You think you're having a real chicken noodle soup. And it won't be no chicken in there at all. Now, a lot of people do know that, say, when you buy chicken McNuggets, that's 75% corn and 25% of what they call chicken. Okay? So it's just got worse. So they don't have to tell you if they're giving you bugs. So don't try to look on the label and say, is there any bugs in here? I don't see grasshoppers. I don't see cricket. I don't see cockroach. It must be okay for me to eat. No, they don't have to put it in there now. Next image, please. So buyer beware. You got to grow it yourself. So the USDA undercover investigators to make sure retailers comply with the new food stamp restrictions, whatever those might be. Does that have something to do with workfare? Somebody inform me. I really don't know. Is this a plan to put everybody to work to earn your food stamps? Next image, please. Do you have to go to work now to get food stamps. Look at this one. This is Wegmans. They got a big Wegmans store not too far from me. They just built a few years ago. I'm not going back in there no more. Look at this. Major food market in New York City is storing biometric data on shoppers' eyes, voices, and faces. Hey, I didn't go in there to get all that. I just went in there to get some groceries. Now you got all my stuff biometrically that you're going to sell to some of these big tech oligarchs on the internet. And now everywhere I go from now on, they got me. They got me. They can track me anywhere I go. I'm glad I haven't been there. I haven't been to Wegmans since COVID hit, because I don't go in places like that. And I'm glad now. And you'll never see me again. But it makes me suspicious of all the other ones. Because Wegmans is not even known for being high tech, as far as I know. But Amazon is. Whole Foods is. So what do you feel about that? In other words, I guess what it means, to put it all together, see, the USDA is tightening down on restrictions to food sellers. And here we have one of the biggest food sellers in America collecting biometric data of your eyes, your voice, and your face. And I guess depending on what your eyes look like, your voice sound like, and your face look like, that's going to determine whether you can buy food or not. That's what it looks like to me. Next image, please. Putting everything together. 333, look at that number, 333 cases of turbo cancer after COVID-19. So I think we actually covered this in a previous broadcast. We talked about it a little bit. But this is the update, because those doctors who were brave enough to report the facts, they treated them even worse than me. They came under a cyber attack. These are university doctors. They're not no little old doctor like me. No, these are university doctors, professors and everything, professors emeritus. And they just wrote down the truth, and now they got hit with a cyber attack. So I should feel lucky. Next image, please. Because all they did with me was ban me from Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. So we've looked at this before, people coming out with the information time after time. Every time they look, they find something. All these heart attacks taking place, heart failure taking place all over the place, myocarditis all over the place. So they just keep looking and looking, keep finding the same thing. Evidently, this COVID-19 vaccine is a biological weapon that likes to kill hearts. Next image, please. It kills the heart of a person. Looks like, excuse me, let me clear my throat. So now this slide speaks for itself. You have a 41% increase overnight in influenza in Croatia, which is in Eastern Europe. You say, what does that have to do with me? Well, hey, what is going on over there today will be over here tomorrow. Next image, please. In fact, it may have come from here to there. Deadly COVID-19 and flu co-infection. In other words, when you have both of them together. Think about all of the millions of people who have what they call long COVID. Yeah, they got COVID 3 years ago, and they're still suffering from what they call long COVID, which means the infection is still there. Now along comes this new flu. And look what the headline says. If that happens, it's likely to spark heart attacks and brain attacks. Next image, please. Now, I just came across this article at the last minute. I haven't had a chance to go through it myself in detail. So I'm just flagging the headline because it sounds like good news. Sounds like good news if this is true. I don't necessarily believe it right now. I have to go through it and check. But it looks like the CD has just nuked 7 vaccines from its kids' vax schedule. Now, of course, I don't know what nuked means. What does that mean? That means they irradiated all of the vaccines with radiation? They nuked them? Or does it mean that they eliminated them? Because if they did it the one way, it's going to eliminate you and your child. So again, this is tricky language coming from the CDC that they just nuked 7 vaccines and made them more deadly, or they nuked them and got rid of them. So we have to look into that and see which it is, because it could make a big difference. Next image, tricky language, hard to understand what they really mean. Now this is over there in India, having a huge hepatitis A outbreak. That's the infection of your liver. And hepatitis A usually comes from drinking contaminated water, water that is not purified. In other words, one of the signs of a civilized society is the society's ability to separate its drinking water from its sewage. If you can't keep your sewage separate from your drinking water, you're in trouble. And so this is the trouble that's taking place over in India. Evidently, they don't know how to keep their sewage line out from their drinking water line. Now, the sorry truth of it is that that is also the case in about 100 American metropolitan areas, according to a recent survey. That means that in 100 American cities, the drinking water is contaminated. Now, I'm not saying that it's contaminated with hepatitis A, but it could be. It's contaminated with cryptosporidiosis and other things like that. So potentially it could also be contaminated with a virus called hepatitis A that causes inflammation of the liver. And as you see, sparks alarming as 82 die and 31,536 are infected. And of course, they can transmit it to other people. Now, this is especially significant in the presence of vaccine-induced acquired immune deficiency. People who got the vaccine, are going to be severely at risk of anything approaching this. Now, of course, hepatitis A is one thing, hepatitis B is another, hepatitis C, hepatitis D. I think it goes all over. Last I checked, it went up to E and F and G. Next image, please. They say this is an alphabet virus. Okay, this is just the details about what we just talked about. Next image, please. So now here it comes, 30 states now in the worst tier for CDC flu designation as cases spike across the nation. In other words, they rank, how many cases per 1,000 people in your state. And then they put you in a different tier or color. Next image, please. I think it's a map. Yeah, so you can see what state you live in and what your flu risk is right now, according to the CDC. And so the darker the color, take a screenshot, because you might want to study this later. But essentially, the darker the color, the worse the risk. And as you can see, the majority of the country is showing dark. So the risk of flu is very severe. And as much as people travel from state to state without giving a thought to it, it could be in another week or two, because this is just the beginning of the flu season. We could see the entire country under a severe influenza epidemic. And of course, my hope would be that it would never approach as bad as it was in 1957 with the Asiatic flu. I hope it never even gets close in sight to what happened 100 years ago with the Spanish flu. Because under that situation, you're literally going to talk about millions of people who would die. I think 150 million people died of the Spanish flu, including some of my relatives. Not all in America, I don't mean that, but around the world in 1918, 1919, yeah, around the world, 100 million people died of the influenza. Many scholars say that's really what put a stop to World War I. All the soldiers got sick and died. I wonder if all the soldiers are going to get sick and die now that's fighting all these wars around the world. Would that be a good thing or a bad thing? So then, now, okay, you can go to that next one. Since we're laughing, that's one of the greatest comedians of all time, Bill Cosby, standing there with the Reverend Jackson and myself. This was about a week or so after the Million Man March. That's when this picture was taken. That's when the local organizing committee in Philadelphia had hosted a huge meeting. I mean, if you want to talk about what city contributed a huge amount to the success of the Million Man March, you got to take your hat off to the city of brotherly love. They came through big time, and so this was a week or two after the march itself, and I was questioning Bill Cosby. How come you didn't come out to the march, Bill? What was wrong with you? And he says, since we didn't invite white people, that's why he didn't come. That's what he told me. But we were good brothers and friends together. Anyhow, next image, please. I actually don't remember that Reverend Jackson was in that picture, but there he was. He gets in the camera some kind of way. He gets there. He gets there, doesn't he? He's always in the camera. I didn't know he was there. I mean, I knew he was at the meeting, but I didn't know he was in the camera shot. Now look at this headline. This might affect you, I don't know. United Health, isn't that the company where they just shot the CEO a couple months ago, shot him dead? I guess things weren't going too good then. Look at this. United Health cancels 1 million users. That's a pretty big number. This is people who have Medicare Advantage, whatever that is. I never could keep up with it. But maybe you have kept up with it, and it's been keeping you up. But now you might be one of the million that have been canceled without notice. Except we did warn you on the Your Immunity Project. We told you as of January the 1st, healthcare was either going to be canceled or it was going to be made unaffordable. Next image, please. So here's the first million that got cut from Medicare. That's older people. See, they're killing the elderly. And then we found out in 12 states it's legal to perform euthanasia. So they're just going to kill them. The ones that didn't kill off in the first wave of the COVID pandemic in the nursing homes. Is this you? You got cut off your insurance and then you're working along with 99.3 million other Americans more than one job. Got a full-time job and got 2 part-time jobs. Trying to make ends meet that don't meet. Because no matter how hard you work, you cannot keep up with the inflation that is eating up the value of the dollar and of course, the financial vultures on Wall Street that are driving that inflation that makes your rent go up, makes your grocery bill go up, makes your energy bill go up, makes your utilities go up, and your wages don't go up. So there you go up working 2 jobs. Can't see morning, can't see night. And can't see no way out either. Can't see no way out. Next image, please. So now this is, they call him a black conservative, black Republican. What's the difference between a black Republican and a black Democrat? Neither one of them can do nothing for you. But anyhow, Larry Elder says Obamacare was and is and will always be a problem. Well, I could have told you that when they first introduced it, Larry Elders. I'm on record as saying once they passed Obamacare, I said, okay, that's going to lead to bankruptcy. The whole country going to go bankrupt. I can't remember how many years I said it would take, but it wasn't long. How long has it been since Obama been in office? Not long. Less than a decade, right? And the country already bankrupt. First, you got all of the big food companies making people sick. Big farmers making the people sick. The pesticide and chemical companies, they making the people sick. And the corrupted media making them sick in the head. So now everybody getting sick. And the government said, we're going to pay for all of the sickness that we just caused. I don't think that's a good economic model that's sustainable. So I predicted that the country would go bankrupt if they adopted Obamacare, and now Lee Elders is agreeing with me. Next image, please. But I'm going to pat myself on the back because I was right all along. And that's why, as the American healthcare system is failing, I'm introducing my own healthcare system. Now, if you study the American healthcare system, the first thing that you will learn is that there is no such thing as an American healthcare system. It's just a hodgepodge, like it's not a system. It's chaos. And it ill serves everybody except the rich insurance companies and some of the doctors, not all of the doctors. So we have to introduce something as an alternative. Next image. So under the name Abundant Life, that's been around since 1986, we're introducing a 9-point healthcare plan. It's not ready to go yet. I'm showing you a preliminary view of something that's in the making. But I'm showing you how it works. We take you through a well-defined program of 9 steps. That if you follow these steps, at the end of about a year for most people, might take longer for some. Some will do it quicker. But there's 9 definite steps that you have to take. And if you take those steps, hey, you'll be in perfect health. You'll reach your health goals. And at the same time, you will be reversing your physiologic age. This is an answer to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says in How to Eat to Live. I'll have you back to the age of 16. Well, he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. He said fasting with the right food is the cure for all our illnesses. So somebody just had to put that basic principle together into a professional way or marry it with, professional level skill, and then work it up into a healthcare plan that can be offered widely to everybody. Everybody wants to be healthy. Hey, here it is. Here's the pathway to health. Maybe you don't want that. Some people get comfort out of being sick. Doctors call that secondary gains. I get sympathy when I'm sick. When I'm sick, then people treat me like I'm helpless and they serve me hand and foot. I got in trouble with a HIV patient one time because when he was down with AIDS, he really was disabled. And I filled out the paperwork. Yeah, this is a disabled man. Don't make this man do nothing. Give him all the benefits that he is due. He's disabled. But then what he forgot was he was my patient, and I got him better. So after about 2 or 3 years of being disabled, he wasn't disabled anymore. But he brought me the paperwork. I said, well, now you want me to tell the truth or tell a lie? He said, no, doc, tell the truth. So I did. This man is no longer disabled. Put him to work. And that man was so mad at me for getting him better. I mean, at one point I thought he was going, I didn't know what he was going to do just because I got him better. And he had to go back to work. Next image, please. So be careful what you ask for. You might just get it and you won't like it. So that's what we're announcing. We made the announcement late in 2025. We were actually struggling and striving the hardest we can. When I say we, I'm talking about Sister Viola. People say, Doc, have your staff do this and this and that. What staff are you talking about? That's why I'm trying to go virtual, so I won't need such a big staff. Back in the day, I had 16 people on my staff, making me famous, and they doing all the work. So again, there's always, a back story, a back office, a back operation that you don't see that makes what's out front look good and sound good. So that's what we're working on now, trying to get that back office stuff in a virtual manner, high-tech stuff, so it actually works out front like it's supposed to. Right now, it's not ready. But in a few weeks, we think it will be. We had set an original deadline, actually for my birthday in August. So here we are already in the early part of 2026. So inshallah, be patient. And now the workaround solution, if you need to really get in touch with me, use my Proton mail. I've had problems with email in the past. People say, I sent you this, I sent you that. Hey, if I got it, I would have responded. And also, what did the old folks used to say? If at first you don't succeed, do what? Quit? No. Try again till you get through. So that's what it's all about. This old healthcare system that you have known, the doctors that you have known, the hospitals, the clinics, all the x-rays, the blood tests, the surgeries, and all that's the stuff of the past. That's not a part of the hereafter. This is the hereafter coming in. And so you have to get yourself, in line, to get the benefits of the hereafter if you want to enjoy the benefits of the hereafter. Next image, please. Maybe that's, yeah, okay, so it's the same thing. We're talking about personalized nutritional therapy based on how to eat to live. No two people are the same. So how could you treat them all the same? No, they all have to be treated individually in a personal way. And I used to have to do it in person, but now I can actually do it with photographs. So I can do remote autonomic response testing. And so that's what the website's going to be able to offer. And we'll be able to sign you up in the healthcare plan. Or you can just, just a one-off visit, that's okay. But if you're really serious about your health, hey, what's a one-time visit going to do? That's like saying a prayer one time. What's that? I mean, nothing wrong with saying a prayer, even one time. But most people will tell you it's consistency that gets it done. And the same is true in healthcare. It's consistency over time. And it doesn't take that much time for most people, like I said, about a year or so. Next image, please. But it's personal. Each person has their own lock that has to be unlocked before they can enjoy perfect health. So those are our images. That's my portion of the program. And so it's now time to hear from you. So Sister Cheryl, who do we have that has their hand up or has left us
so
something?
Far on Facebook, we have no questions on Facebook, but we have one hand up here on Zoom PC. Assalamu alaikum. You can unmute yourself and ask your question to Dr. Alim.
Wa alaikum salam. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Doc, this is Elijah. I mentioned yesterday.
Oh, you're that brother that was on the broadcast.
Yes,
You're from Oklahoma.
yes,
So I wanted to ask you a question before you get a chance to ask me a question.
yes.
So who's Minister Bob?
Robert Houston.
Oh, he gets that much disrespect now. Okay. I just didn't know who you were referring to. Now I'm clear. So go ahead with your question.
Well, he's an agent, just like.
Just go ahead with your question, please.
Okay. Minister Amos in San Diego would say, like I asked you yesterday, he would say, Allah would get us or kill us. And you said, Allah doesn't have a killing side. Allah didn't come to kill. And that needs to be corrected because that's not true. When the messenger said, Savior, I preached how to go. The Savior asked him, how did your lecture go? And he said, I preached so well that the people cried. And do you remember what the Savior told Elijah?
Go on, brother. I mean, you're kind of off topic here for this program. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, should we wait till in the morning?
Why don't you wait until another time? Because I think your discussion is off topic. This is the Your Immunity Project. We talk about survival issues usually related to health. It can be other issues, but you're way off target. So excuse yourself and let room for someone else to come on that's on target.
I thought the Muslims could talk about anything at any time.
Not on my program.
Okay.
So excuse yourself, and we'll allow someone else to come on. Is there anyone else, Sister Cheryl?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Alim.
Walaikum salam.
Yes, sir. I was wondering, the chemtrails that you often discuss, the long-term health effect. What would that be for? I don't know if it would be for an individual as far as for male versus female, even children. What would be the long health effect for individuals?
How often do you listen to the Your Immunity Project?
As often as I can.
So on any given week, I show what, 30, 40, 50 different headlines?
Yes.
And all of them are about different health conditions, organ failure, turbo cancer, blood disorders, mental illnesses, all kinds of things.
Yes.
So if you sum all of that up over all of the broadcasts that you have ever listened to, and says, you mean that big pile of disease, all that stuff that you're always talking about, that doom and gloom stuff?
Yes.
Those are the long-term effects of chemtrails. Turbo cancer, poor immunity, brain fog. And I think maybe more than a year ago, maybe I need to redo it. But I was showing how they gave us a movie some years ago called The Matrix.
Okay.
And the whole purpose of the movie was how do people who are caught in the matrix escape this artificial matrix and get into a real, authentic human existence again.
Okay.
And of course, the movie made it seem one way, when in reality, the people who were watching the movie, as they were watching the movie, were being plugged into the matrix itself, the real matrix.
Yes, sir. I
So,
recall that.
yes, and so people ignore the fact that as we speak, Elon Musk has 4,200 satellites that are circling the entire Earth and planning to put many times more up there.
Wow.
The Russians, they got their swarm of satellites. The Chinese have the same thing. If you took a picture of planet Earth from the moon, you would say that planet Earth is a ringed planet, just like Saturn.
Wow.
And the rings are all of the satellites that have been launched into space. They launch, Elon Musk is launching 20, 30 satellites at a time. They call them satellite trains.
Wow.
So now those satellites, some of them might be thousands of miles above the Earth. Most of them are about 300 miles above the Earth. And of course, it forms a communication network among themselves. Then now that's outer space.
Right.
That's above the atmosphere. Now, in the next lower level of the atmosphere called the stratosphere, they have stratospheric drones that are as large as a football field
Wow.
in square, the square dimensions of it.
Yes.
And these are transmitting stations. They call them radio stations, stratospheric radio transmitting stations. They receive the signals, the control signals from the satellites, and then they relay it down through the stratosphere all the way to the ground. Now, one of these stratospheric drones can control electronically an area the size of Los Angeles,
Jeez.
the size of Chicago, one.
Right.
And so there's a whole fleet of them that cover every square inch of, and this is the literal matrix. Now, if something needs to be done, see, that's a broad general coverage for
Right.
surveillance. We talked about Wegmans doing the biometrics. Okay, well, all that's going to be uploaded into a satellite.
Okay.
So now you went into Wegmans, they took your biometric data. They said, well, this lady or this man, he put up something on social media last week that we didn't like. Now she's trying to go in Wegmans. We scanned her eyes and we realized she's on a list. And so that was shot up to the satellite, and the satellite processed it and sent it down to the RoboCop. And now, as you turn around to walk away because they won't serve you, now here comes the electronic police, to apprehend you for violating community standards.
Wow.
Don't say it's not happening. This is what's happening to people right now in Germany. This is what's happening to people in England right now. They arrested, I think, an 80-year-old lady last week because she posted something on social media in favor of Palestine.
Wow.
And they broke down her door in the middle of the night and took her to jail. Grandma went to jail. We don't like what you said. So what I'm saying is, see, they showed you all that in the movie, that these spider-like things gonna come out of nowhere, and they. Well, those are the drones. Remember last year in New Jersey, all these unidentified drones flying all over the place, doing different things, shooting laser beams here and there.
Yes, sir.
See, they were just setting up the different layers of the matrix, all the way out to outer space, down to a level on the stratosphere. Then in the troposphere, they had the chemtrail planes laying out all these chemtrails. That's the troposphere. And then a little bit lower than that, then they have all of these little drones that are doing little things, spraying, starting forest fires, igniting buildings on fire, doing all these mysterious things that you see taking place.
Yes, sir.
Now, of course, what happens to the chemtrails the next day after they fall out of the sky?
The residue come to the earth.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Okay, so now all the electronics, all the radioactive elements, all of the toxic chemicals, all that has settled down on the ground. And somebody comes out in the morning and says, "What's all that stuff on my car windshield? What's all that white stuff on the leaves?" That's the residue from the chemtrails that was over your head yesterday.
Yes.
And it's just as radioactive, it's just as toxic, it's just as cancer causing as it was when it was in the sky. And if you don't take precautions against it, you're going to walk on it and you're going to bring it into your house. And then over a period of time, your house is going to accumulate toxicity, radioactivity, and then you're going to be surprised. How did I come down with cancer? Because you weren't paying attention. You didn't take it seriously that they were attacking you. Here, I mean, you just think about what we have broadcast on the Your Immunity Project all this time about chemtrails, telling the American people, including you,
Yes, sir.
the U.S. government Department of Defense, well now the Department of War, is attacking you. And if you want the evidence that they are attacking you to kill you, all you have to do is look up, and there it is. Now, you would think if you warn people that they're under attack to be murdered, you would think that they would take action.
You would think.
But
Yes, sir.
no, they drink fluoridated water.
Yes.
And fluoride makes you passive, unable to take concerted action even to save your life. And so that's why people don't do anything.
We are just under chemical warfare, as you also mentioned in your talking about the chemtrail. We are just under chemical warfare, and this goes deeper than what you can put on this platform right now.
But the amazing thing is all of the things that we could be doing to fight back, to defend ourselves, that we're not doing. You don't have to take this. Who said that the Pentagon has the right to kill you just because they want to? And you have nothing to say about it and can't do anything about it. You're just powerless. You're like a sheep in the slaughterhouse, and you can't do anything about it. And that's why some people derisively refer to the American population as a bunch of sheeple. They're being decimated, and they act like They're like, I mean, is this the definition of zombies? You can just kill them and they won't do nothing in self-defense?
Wow.
In broad daylight, they don't hide it.
Absolutely.
And people do nothing. And they look at people like me. What's wrong with Doc? What's Doc so upset about? Because I'm not here to die as the victim of somebody who just intends to murder me.
Wow.
You don't think they would really do that? They're already doing it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But will we do anything about it to protect ourselves? They say self-preservation is the first law of nature. Well, I guess we become very unnatural then. So thank you for calling. That was a very good question. I haven't talked about that in detail in a long time. So they've created the matrix all around us, and that's the
Yes.
environment in which we live as long as we are willing to tolerate that.
Right, right. Thank you, sir.
You're
for
welcome.
Such detail. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Athena. Doc, we have one hand up on here on Zoom, and then we have one question on Facebook and one question on YouTube. So, Sister Peggy, you had your hand up, ma'am? Assalamu alaikum, Sister Peggy. Okay, we'll move on to the Facebook question. The Facebook question was, let's see, from Brother Craig Howell. Will you sell Paximune again in the near future?
No, there is no Paximune to sell. The production of Paximune stopped, a couple of years ago. There's no new production of Paximune. Now, we could manufacture our own interferon. I mean, if that's what you mean. Is it possible that in the future, we could be manufacturing our own interferon? Obviously, we wouldn't be able to take somebody else's trade name. We would have to call it, going back in history, I would call it what we used to call it when we were manufacturing interferon. We called it Imuviron. And that's when Dr. Barbara Justice and I had just come back from Kenya, and we had discovered that this interferon stuff really works. We were curing patients with HIV and AIDS. And so many of you might remember, it was late in November. I had just gotten back from AIDS conference in Africa, and all of a sudden here I am on national television with Primetime Live. And I had previously recorded the interview with Chris Wallace. I gave him a 3-hour interview, and the only thing he wanted to show on television is when I told people to go to hell. And they used that in a negative way. But the next day, I got a phone call from someone that I didn't know. And he was outraged at the way I had been treated by Primetime Live. I call it Primetime Lies. And he said, you're a medical doctor, and you know your clinical stuff, but you're not a biochemist. You're not responsible for knowing all of what they were trying to lay on you. He said, but my wife and I, we are biochemists. And we're up here in Boston, and we need to meet with you. We have a proposition for you. So we met at Dulles Airport. His wife didn't come. But he said, look, we'll make the interferon for you. We know how to make it. It's easy. It's not such a complicated process. It's no more complicated than fermenting wine or some fermentation process. And then there's the purification after that is more complicated. But he said, for somebody that's trained, it's easy. So that was in late November. And then by February, Savior's Day, of that following year, guess what my Savior's Day gift was to Minister Farrakhan? Yes. Our own manufactured batch, our first manufactured batch of interferon. And it was at the palace, and I put it right in front of him. I said, we made our first batch, Brother Minister. We made our first batch. And then after that, we located a biochemistry laboratory in Henderson, Tennessee. And we could have bought the entire complex. It was available, fully equipped, all the equipment ready to go. Ready to go for $300,000. We could have got the whole thing for $300,000. And then that would have put us literally in the interferon manufacturing business. Now, if you ask me what happened, that we never got that facility and we never followed through on the manufacture of our own interferon, you would have to ask others who have more knowledge of that than me. Now, as an alternative to that, we had a brother in the ranks in Washington, D.C., Brother Victor, and he had a background in biochemistry and, in other things. And so he was able to help us during a period of shortage where we did not have the best manufactured interferon, but he was able to help us in that time of need. So all I'm trying to point out with this history is that, yes, in fact, we have manufactured our own interferon and we could do it again. If we just had a Ministry of Health, that's the way I would look at it. Back then, we didn't have a Ministry of Health. I wasn't even thinking in that kind of a framework. But now I am. Where would that fit in the scheme of things? Well, under the Ministry of Health, we start manufacturing interferon to save our people. And if $300,000 would have done it back then, well, maybe it's $3 million now. So what? So thanks for that question. But no, there's none that I know of. Now, there was a counterfeit product out there. I hope it's disappeared because it was really poisonous. It wasn't just that it was, just, not the right thing. No, it was poisonous when I tested it, that counterfeit. So I'm not aware of any that's available. If I was, I would have it.
Okay, Dr. Alim, our last question for the night is from YouTube, and it's from Kosum Akbar, 977. Is it true that blood type is a concern for a person's diet?
Well, I think blood types, of course, are very important for a lot of reasons, including diet and pretty much everything else. But it's not something for a person to worry about. See, you'll read in books and articles where they'll recommend certain foods depending on what your blood type is supposed to be. And you'll try to be following what's written down in that book and get all messed up. The reality of it is, because you are a certain blood type, you have a certain taste for certain foods. If you actually just look at what you already like to eat and what you don't like to eat, and only eat the things that you like to eat, you would be eating according to your blood type, even if you don't know what your blood type is. Where do you think your taste buds come from? That you have a particular taste for things that are salty or things that are sour. Or I like grains more than I like fruit. Or I like fruit more than I like grains. No, I don't like meat at all. You know what I mean? That's your blood type speaking through your appetite, through your taste buds. So you can become academically trained and all of that if you want to. But it's not really necessary for health. Just follow your own natural taste. And you'll probably end up seeing that nobody's actually a pure anything. So you might be mostly an A, you might be mostly an O, but just be yourself. And just follow your own taste. And your blood type will take care of itself. That only becomes important for things like blood transfusions and organ transplants. But of course, if you follow your blood type according to your taste, according to your palate, you see, well, then you won't need a transplant later on. You won't need a transfusion later on. So yeah, that's kind of a gimmick. They make a big deal out of things that they shouldn't make a big deal out of and lead innocent people astray. So just follow your own taste. And that explains the differences between people. Why don't I like Brussels sprouts? If you don't like them, don't eat them. Okay, well, I think that does it. And I want to thank everyone for being present with us. Once again, with the Your Immunity Project, we've come to think of this as the first part of the survival show. And tomorrow night is the geopolitical part of the survival show. We call it the 19th element. The 19th element, why? Because it's all above the brow and never below the belt. So be with us on these various platforms. Don't forget to push the share button and subscribe. Let's get our subscriber base up. Tell somebody that you know. Don't come next time by yourself. Bring somebody with you. So look for me tomorrow night with the 19th element, and then Sunday and Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with prayer and fasting. We're on the overall, we're on the overall topic of the resurrection of the dead nation. And we've come to the sudden realization that the key to the resurrection of the dead nation is called deliberative dialogue. So you don't want to miss it this coming Sunday and Monday with prayer and fasting and Chief Malgana, Abdul Malik Muhammad. So that ends it for me. So thank you, Sister Cheryl. Let's close our program with prayer.
Yes, sir. And as a quick note, Dr. Ling and family, don't forget we have coming up this Saturday the new release of a new series from the Ghana Chronicles. So join us on Prayer and Fasting Zoom. Join us on Chief Abdul Malik Muhammad's Facebook page at 9 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Central. And thank you, Dr. Ling, for a beautiful broadcast. And we will close out in prayer.
You're welcome.
Attention, prayer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the day of requital. Thee do we serve, and thee do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Ameen.
Ameen.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ling.
Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Everyone.
That's it. That's it. Enjoy, everyone. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell everyone. Show that you care.